Hello, welcome to my general review of the first in the Shadowscent duology, The Darkest Bloom by PM Freestone. This is a story set in the Empire of Aramtesh, where scent has power. But the crown prince is poisoned, and a poor village girl with a scent for sense and the prince's personal bodyguard, Ash, go on an adventure together to find the antidote to the prince's poison. I hated this book, and I loved this book. Let me explain. This is very clearly a debut novel. So there are some inconsistencies, there were some aspects of the language and the characters and bits of the world building that were overly complicated, and there were some moments that were made more difficult than they needed to be to obviously increase dramatic tension. But in reality, they were easily solvable. There was one weird moment when Ash and Raquel were escaping from a house in the middle of the night. So they had to creep through the house, and then they were creeping through the garden and they couldn't get caught, and they climbed a wall and they're looking around and they're checking, and then the horse is there. Like, where the fuck did her horse come from? So there was just little moments like this where we just needed a line to say, well, this was actually next to the stables or something, because they showed up in an orchard and then the horse is there. Also, they drink something called Cormac, which is called the stimulant drink. But saying that, it's a debut novel, and when my debut novel comes out, I hope it's even a fraction as good as this book. So remember that. But the main reason why I had this difficult relationship with this book is because I loved Ash. He was my little cinnamon bun. He was amazing. But at the same time, I hated Raquel. So the book is told with alternating chapters. We start with Raquel and then we move to Ash, and then we take turns throughout the rest of the book from each of their points of view. And at the beginning, Raquel is so annoying and she's so sarcastic, and you just don't understand why. Like, somebody offers her a drink and she's like, what the fuck are you trying to do? Why are you doing this? Like, whoa, chill. They just wanted to give you this thing. And you just can't understand why she's being like this. So I think it wasn't until page 100 where I stopped rolling my eyes every time she moved. And then it was page 200 where I was like, okay, I see what you did there. I'll respect you for that. But then it was page 300, around the 300 page mark, where I really started to understand her, and she came into her own, and she finally started showing us her skills and her knowledge and everything that she can do. And by this point, we also have more of her backstory, so we understand why she was so annoying in the beginning, because she actually had a really difficult childhood, and I was too quick to judge her, and by the end, I felt really guilty that I was being mean about her. Like, all my annotations are just like, the fuck, Raquel, what are you doing? That's stupid. No, stop it. No. So I would have really appreciated at the beginning if we'd had a little bit more backstory of Raquel, or maybe just like one small scene to indicate why she's so quick to become so angry all the time. But it was about the 200 page mark where I realized that I was fully invested in this book. I couldn't have put it down if I tried. I was completely invested in the characters and their relationships especially. There was a moment where Ash wasn't ready to trust Raquel, and I was genuinely wounded. I was like, don't you dare think that about her. Oh, damn, Freestone got me. And it was the progression of their relationship that just kept me going through this book. Because it's so dynamic and fun and playful. And because Raquel is so fiery and Ash is so calm, it's like fire and water. And they just come together in the most interesting ways, and they set each other off and they complement each other, and they have this really interesting dynamic that I really enjoyed watching progress from the beginning to the end. And the beginning of this book is actually chock full of really wholesome relationships, family relationships, friendships. It was so nice to see that each of the different characters had their own relationship with this person or their friend or the person they want to be their girlfriend or. And there were a few moments where I was like, oh, you're an idiot, you're an idiot, this person's gonna betray you. And then it turns out that they weren't gonna betray them at all, and they're actually just being a really wholesome person and following their beliefs. Who knew that could happen in a novel? But the book mostly focuses on the character development and character relationships. And to be honest, I only picked this book up because of the Scent Has Power tagline. It even says it on the front, where perfume is magic and secrets are deadly. That's a little bit disingenuous, to be honest, because magic doesn't actually show up in the book properly until page 280, I think it was. It was quite late on in the book where we realised, oh, this secret that this character's been hiding, it's something to do with magic. And then we understand. So in my next video, I will cover Scent as world building in more detail. So Scent as world building in this book mostly showed up as some of the things the characters were doing in the background that was separate to the relationship building, and also it came through a lot in the language. And the information that we were given about Scent throughout the book mostly stayed at a surface level, and as the book progressed, somehow it turned itself into this racy page turner, and before I knew it, I was finished, and I just had to read the next book. Thank you for watching my review of The Darkest Bloom, the first in the Shadowscent duology by PM Freestone. I hope you will join me in my next video where I will be discussing Scent as a world building tool. But until then, I will see you in the comments.